basic idea behind material control can be brought under three headings. Okay, it can be brought under three headings. One is procurement, yeah. Two is storage, and three is usage of material. So it's actually a systematic control over procurement, storage, and usage of materials. So we learn many statistical or stock control tools which we will be using for controlling the material supply and usage within the factory or within the manufacturing sector. Basically, I have put three activities which are connected with material control, that is control at the time of purchase. Second one is control at the time of storage, and third one is control regarding the price, actually pricing of material, in the sense pricing at the time of procurement of this material. Because as we know, material cost is one element that is contributing to the total cost of a particular product. So if we are able to control material cost in the right way, we would be able to control total cost also. So these are the three areas where we would be looking at and learning different tools which is connected with material cost control. One is cost control, which is related with purchase of materials. Second is related to stores control, that is storing, utilizing, issuing, all that activities. And three is procurement price. So these are the three areas where we would be learning different tools as part of this module. So I repeat once more, material cost control, the basic idea behind material cost control is the systematic control over procurement, usage, as well as storage of materials. Now, the basic purpose for that would be to ensure regular supply, continuous supply of raw materials within the production process. So it involves three controls mainly. One is control made at the time of purchasing of materials. Second one is control which is implemented at the time of storing of materials. And last one is pricing, price procurement. At what price you should get it from suppliers. Say maybe if you order in bulk, you can get good price from the suppliers. We know the difference between wholesale price and retail price. But when we are trying to purchase at the time when it is required for your factory production, you might not be you might not be eligible to receive a appropriate or ideal price for a particular material or a particular raw material. Right. And now going ahead, basically, when we are talking about purchase of material, it can be, there are different variations to that. Purchase can be centralized as well as decentralized, which we are going to discuss at a later stage. So basically, this purchase of material will be part, in a big organization, it will be part of purchase department. And purchase manager or chief buyer who would be entrusted with the responsibility of finally sanctioning the purchase, the bulk purchase within an organization. So that is a structure. So you might find in a manufacturing concern, you will be having a purchase department who might be taking care of all the purchases that is happening within an organization, or we can say all the major purchases. And when we look at the primary role of a purchase manager would be to ensure continuous availability of material. Because if materials are not available at the right time, then your production process may be discontinued. Maybe it will be broken, or if there is an interruption in the production process. So that should not happen, because ultimately that will cost you with some kind of opportunity as well as some additional cost for maintaining the labor, all these things. So in order to avoid that, to ensure a continuous availability of materials, we will have an efficient purchase department, and the purchase manager, in the general case, as the title says, he will be taking care of all the procurement and all the activities within the purchase department. Now, the primary duties of a purchase manager would be preparation of a purchase budget. See, there is, which again we are going to discuss at a later stage, there is something called as bill or a list a list of all the materials that are required for producing a particular product, which will be prepared at the beginning itself. It's not something which is prepared at the time of production. Normally, in a big organization, they will prepare the list of all materials that is required in connection with the production process. And of course, based on that, the purchase manager, under the leadership of purchase manager, they go with preparation of a purchase budget. They will know, okay, we are aiming at a production of maybe 1,000 units, right? So for that 1,000 units, we need maybe 10 quintals of a particular product, a particular raw materials. So that again, what are the list of 10 numbers, 10 quintals, 10 kgs, different allocations would be there, which will be coming as part of a purchase budget. And of course, once you have a purchase budget in place, the next thing which the primary role of a purchase manager would be issuing purchase requisition or receiving purchase requisition as and when required. Why I say is receiving, because purchase requisition may be coming up from different departments. You might be having different departments who are engaged in the production of different products, or maybe at different stages. Say, we can imagine as a textile or maybe garment manufacturing unit. So they would be having different departments. So the first department would be requiring material, cloth material, to start up with the process. The second department, maybe they would require different accessories for making that into a final product. The third department, they might be requiring different packing materials in order to pack it according to the products, maybe product size and product category. So likewise, different departments will be having different requirements at different time. So purchase requisition is something which is indicating the requirement sent by each department. So the purchase manager will have to address these requisition, taking the order or preference at which that has to be supplied to these departments. So that again is another important function of purchase manager. That is, he will receive the requisition from different departments. He have to take care of that. Right. Now, how do he take care of that? He will have to source materials according to the requirement at the right price. So when he have to source the materials at the right time, the purchase manager, or as a whole, the purchase department should have a list of tradable, or this list of suppliers who could be associated with this particular organization. There will be n number of suppliers, but you can only pick those suppliers that whose trading policy, whose selling policy is matching with the policy of this particular organization. So that's why the purchase manager, as the next step, will have some liaison with a set of suppliers who would be approached at the time of sourcing of materials. So the right supplier who's ready to supply the right quality expected by the organization at the right time. That's the basic purpose of sourcing of materials. Now, after that, once you identify, okay, this is the supplier, they have the materials, and then you will speak with them over the terms. See, suppose if I order, say in the case of textile or garment manufacturing unit, as we said, if you require 100 meters of particular cloth, they might say that if you buy 200 meters or this complete roll at a time, you will have a decrease in the per unit price when they are selling it to us. So naturally, the purchase manager will evaluate with the department, the concerned department, whether if you purchase 200 meters of that particular cloth, is it okay? Does the fashion change, or are you planning to have a different design or different material at a later stage? So that will be concern for that particular department. If it is okay, so the price adjustments need to be done, then a better understanding is made between the supplier, and finally the order is issued by the purchase manager. Maybe under the leadership, there would be different wings who place the order. Well, ultimately this is happening. Order being issued, and then the next stage, as we know, we receive the product and we check whether everything is got as per our order. Something if not received, intimation to be given. If something given is not what you had ordered, then that needs to be returned. And finally, after all these, the payment would be made by the purchase manager. The primary role of a purchase, just an outline of the role performed by a purchase manager within a purchase department. Now, another thing which you have to remember is, suppose if our organization is very new to the industry, it does not have good rapport with the suppliers. In that case, we might have to pay that money in advance. We have to pay in advance for them to supply the material to us. That is also. But if you are a firm, you had been offering, you have been operating in the industry for some years, you have a reputation, then maybe payment can be made after the supply of products. So it all depends upon the current position of the firm within the industry and the rapport of this firm with the suppliers of material. So basically, the primary role of a purchase department would be to ensure continuous flow of materials that is required within the firm. See, suppose if materials are not required and if it is a continuous process, right, one process leading to another process. So if the first process is broken or if it is stopped because of shortage of raw material, the other process also will have to be stopped. So there can be laborers who had been hired for doing the work and they would be idle. So in order to avoid that, right, and too much stocking also is not ideal. It's not also advisable. Why? Because it will occupy a lot of your space. And if you stock so many raw materials, there can be a change in fashion. If it is a garment industry, we can expect a change in fashion, or it can be that the freshness of that material will go, so consumer will not feel as it is a new product. So all these things can happen if we accumulate the raw material for a longer period. So we have to know the ideal quantity, source it and store it properly. So that is the primary duty of a purchase department, which is controlled by a purchase manager or a chief buyer. That designation will change from organization to organization, but this is the general role performed by the manager within a purchase department. I'm moving forward. These are very simple things. Now, as I said, purchase can be categorized into centralized and decentralized. Okay. Now, some organizations, you can see that the kind of activities, the number of products would be very huge. Say we take the example of Hindustan Unilever. They have many product lines. So if the company is taking care of the entire purchase by one department, it may not go with the right mode. So what they do is they decentralize that into different, maybe different products or different departments. So each department or each subunit, each unit going with the production of a particular product will have a separate purchase department. And that department takes care of the purchases that are connected with that product. That is what we call as a decentralized purchase. So each department, it is not small, it would be big, right? They are as good as a single company. So likewise, they will have a lot of markets. The production process is continuous and it is in bulk. In such cases, the firm might go with a decentralized policy in purchase. So there will be a purchase department which is associated with every product line or maybe every category of product, right? So that is one example of decentralized purchase. So purchase made by respective production departments, which is associated with you will have a list of products or raw material that is required for producing that particular product, right? But in centralized, it's just the reverse. There will not be, you will have a purchase department and that purchase department makes the purchases for the entire company or entire organization. Maybe you have a number of products. Normally, this is practiced in case of small firms. You have a number of products, but still the production might be in small quantities. Say, for example, you're talking about a plastic industry, right? So you will have a number of products. Maybe some of you go with, some departments go with manufacturing utensils, or some department go with manufacturing other products which could be used by industry. Likewise, but totally the raw material requirement would be done by a central unit. That would be a centralized purchase. So all purchases made by specialized departments which are fully for making purchases. In case of decentralized one, purchases would be made by the respective production department itself. So they might be having a wing or maybe a small number of people who are engaged in making purchases, miniature form of the purchase department, but that is associated with that particular product alone, right? So this is the basic difference between centralized and decentralized purchases, right? Now, I'm just moving ahead because these things are very simple for you. Now, the purchase procedure. See, basically the purchase procedure, as I said, no, it starts with a formal request from that particular department. Whoever needs that product, whoever requires that raw material, they actually initiate a purchase requisition, a request, a form. That form and all, once after the class, just check your textbook. That form is detailed given in your textbook, the prescribed textbooks. Just go through that. So they would be having a purchase requisition. And based on that, I already said normally the purchase department will be having a bill of materials. It's nothing but a complete list of all the materials required by the purchase department or would be required by the purchase department once the production goes on, once the requisition starts coming up from different departments. So that list would be there, and associated with that list, they might identify some suppliers also. See, suppose if there is a request coming up for cloth, right? So they would have a group of suppliers who could be approached for that particular quantity and quality of cloth. Likewise, so the bill of material is nothing but the complete list of all material and components that would be needed by this organization during one operating cycle. Generally, one operating cycle. That's how we consider the production process. And once the requisition is processed, once the department is very clear with the requirement from different departments, they start inviting tenders or quotations. Now, when we talk about this tender, it would be for no more than 5 lakh. Generally, it is for more than 5 lakh for requisitions, which is having a value of more than 5 lakh. We have to go with, it's a government norm. We have to go with inviting tenders. And for if it is just 1 lakh or 2 lakh, normally we go for inviting quotation from different suppliers. And then after receiving this quotation, after following the general procedure, we select the supplier who is quoted with the least price, because we have already specified this is what we require. So based on requirement, the suppliers might have actually listed the quoted price. So the least quoted one will be picked for supply of our raw material. And then we will place the order with them. And ultimately, as I said earlier, we will receive the product. We will verify as per our bill of materials whether we require the right amount and right quality and right type of material, or right category of material which we have ordered. And finally, we make the payment. In that payment case, I already said that sometimes if we do not have a rapport in the industry, then in that case, we might have to go with the advance payment. So this is a general procedure which you can learn now itself. That is, first is initiating the purchase requisition. That requisition will be coming from different departments or different segments as a production process, dependent on the kind of activity which is done by different departments. And that is a formal request. That is called as the formal request. Based on this request, it will be processed, right? Requisition is processed to go with the inviting tenders or quotation, depending upon the value of that particular requisition. And then once after receiving all, we place the order with the right supplier. Then the next step is verification. We receive the product, we accept it only after verification. And then final payment is made. Maybe an advance was paid at the beginning. This final settlement is done at the delivery of the product. See this, the best example which you can see is You can see when you enter a retail showroom, or maybe when you enter into a supermarket, you can see some people going across and taking a stock of what is available within the store, and they will take a stock, and based on that report they will start ordering, they will start approaching different suppliers for supplying the products, and ultimately when the product is handed over, they will verify, they will check with the bill invoice which is given to them, they will check, and finally that is entered into the stock. Normally it is through software, they enter it through the stock list, and that is how they do. The same thing is happening in a manufacturing concern also. For them it is actually a retail outlet, they won't go with a manufacturing, for them it is actually for selling the product, direct selling. But in case of a manufacturing concern, this requirement will be based on the requirement of what is being produced. So this is actually the entire purchase procedure, and this is something which is connected with that. Material cost definitely will include invoice price. Invoice price means the price at which that particular material is bought, right? Sometimes, as I said in the previous case, if I buy 100 meters or if I buy 200 meters instead of 100 meters, I might be given with a discount. So my invoice price, the final price would be after my discount, after my benefits, or the final money, the final price which I've paid for procurement of that material. That's my net price. So that can be part of our material cost. Then the carriage, right? The carriage charges for bringing that to the factory premises, that's also a cost for the firm, that is added. Then taxes. As we know, we have added, we know that now we have value added taxes. So if there is any tax payment that is done as part of this material procurement, that will be part of the cost. And of course, how it is brought. Sometimes we need a container. Suppose if it is a perishable category of product, we need appropriate containers for bringing that. That might incur some cost. Say you can see for fish food processing units, they are exporting it. For fish food processing units for exporting their product, they need containers. So when you go to Vallarpadam and all, you can see big containers being kept over there for the purpose of exporting this. So for that purpose, we need containers which incur some cost. That also would be added with the material cost, right? So basically it would be the net price paid for the raw material. Then it will include the carriage charges, the taxes, as well as, if required, the cost of containers also. So all these will be the total material cost which we will take care of when we are accounting for. Okay. Now the last part is which we would be discussing in today's class is stores control. So till now we had been talking about material procurement. Now we are talking about, we got the material. Now how do we store it? We have to store it, right? Because that may not be issued in bulk at one time to the particular department. We will be keeping that in store, and as the requirement comes, we will issue it. So that's the general purpose when we are talking about a big concern. So there would be a time lag between the material purchase and usage. In that time lag, we need something called as storage. And for that storage purpose, of course, to manage it effectively, we need stores control. So if there is no time, just in time, there is a technique that is used in cost accounting in management, where the procurement is just at the time of production. In that case, we may not require much of storage control or storage space. But when there is a time lag between the purchase and the production, we require something called as storage of materials, storage space. It's a location where the materials are kept. So in order to manage that effectively, we need something called as stores control. So basically, I put it, basically there are three types of stores control, primarily three types based on how it is done. One is centralized store. As I said, you purchase everything for all the departments, all the different product requirements, based on all the different product requirements, you keep it in a common store. So that is very difficult in case of a big concern. But of course, some of the firms do that because easy to manage. They will be using softwares for efficient control. So entire thing is done from one store, one location. That is called as centralized stores, common for all the departments. But when we are talking about a decentralized one, each production department will be having a storage space. They would be having one storage space from where the material would be issued. So that is decentralized. Each of the production unit will be having or attached with a storage unit. From there, the material would be issued. And the last one is centralized store with sub-stores. See, this happens, it is also called as impress system. This happens when the location of production is far away from your location of storage. So every time bringing from there would be a additional cost for the organization. So what they do is, they will actually resource or find out a warehouse, a storage space in between, maybe very much near to the production unit. They will have a storage space. And what they do, from the main centralized store, they will bring some of it, which is maybe required for one production cycle, for maybe for 1 month, maybe for 2 weeks. Likewise, depending upon the operating cycle, length of the operating cycle, they will keep this in the sub-stores. So as the material gets issued from the sub-stores, that will be replaced from the centralized store. So there would be a sub-store. That's why we call that as an impress system. In cash management, we have impress system, the same thing. So the material will be, some of it will be stored in the sub-store, and as the material gets reduced in the sub-store, it will be brought from the centralized store. So there is an efficient control. And at the same time, you are reducing the cost of transportation of this material. So that is where a centralized store attached with a sub-store, which in most of the cases is very near to the production unit. So that's what we call as a sub-store. So we have a main store and a sub-store, and as the material gets reduced from the sub-store, this will be issued from the centralized store. So stores control, in that we have 3 types. One is centralized, which is exclusively taking care of all the storage of material required for the entire departments within the organization. Then you have decentralized stores, where it takes care of storage of a particular unit, of a particular product manufactured, or maybe a particular department. Then we have the third one, which is centralized store with sub-stores. So centralized store with sub-stores is nothing but, you have a main centralized store, and in between you will have a sub-store which takes care of the day-to-day requirement. So you're trying to reduce the maybe the time as well as the cost involved in bringing that from the centralized. The basic purpose for that might be, your centralized store might be located at a faraway location, at a distant place, and in order to have in order to ensure a continuous supply of raw materials, you might require something which is located very near to your production unit. That is what we call as a sub-store.